could.
Yeah, actually, that's already a thing, oddly enough.
I thought that they, like, stopped allowing that because
They
of
did.
competition.
But now now everybody's cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so go ahead and start your recording, because I'm... All right, everybody good to turn on their cams? I just want to double check before...
One moment. Let me...
Please do. Please do. Please do.
Just gotta make sure
I want to see.
Full frame here. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, I'm good.
All right, everybody ready? 3,
and now,
2,
boys and girls,
1.
it's
Show your
time
camera. Okay.
Wow.
I'm so plain. I know that
it.
character. I know that character.
That is oddly enough, it like shocks you when you do it.
That's funny. I think the cameras might need a little bit of rearrangement.
Yes, I see that.
Hi.
Now. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
You're not
I'm
now.
Buka.
You're Buka. Hey, hold on.
All right.
And then over. Yeah. No. Right. You go here, and then you. Wow, that camera is like.
Today's guest is Jef Leeson, Juice.
It's just yeah. I was
getting
the
dizzy.
only one in position. That's hilarious. I love the crown.
I see him here.
Yeah, the crown is absolutely awesome.
It's held together very precariously with chicken
Oh,
wire.
that was the noise. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, it's a little. I'm very fearful that I'm gonna ruin it and have to fix it later, but it is what it is.
Oh, because yeah. Well, you still have to use it for Tuesday. Are you going?
I've got 2 more days to use this, and I'm going to work on Tuesday in this costume too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, other than that little fuck up, here we go. And let's go ahead and get going. Thanks for being here, and intro by Dorino. Hopefully it's the right one. Flag me down if it isn't, because I just grabbed it off the thing.
It's the most recent one, so you should be fine.
Okay. Well, you just uploaded it, so I'm just grabbing it from the website, or from...
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome back to Cold Read the Podcast. I saw a post recently on the voice acting subreddit that asked this question: are paid DAWs better than Audacity? If you've listened to this podcast before, you probably have heard my opinions on Audacity, but I promise I will be as unbiased as I can as we talk about the difference between free and paid DAWs. Let's start off by talking about Audacity and what makes it so appealing to voice actors. Firstly, the price point is 100% free. Pretty big contention when you compare it to other softwares that charge yearly or monthly. Second, Audacity has a very stripped down UI design, which makes it easier to understand. Generally speaking, most people enjoy not having a ton of bells and whistles to mess around with in order to do what they need to. The more buttons and knobs your product has, the more confusing it will appear and the less someone will want to use it. So for the average voice actor, this makes a ton of sense if you just want to record your voice and call it quits after that. Now, as enticing as this product may be, I did want to bring up some negative points as well. For one, there's this whole spyware controversy that came up not too long ago, which could and should bother you. Two, the UI design, despite being bare bones, still really sucks. It is not intuitive whatsoever and often causes confusion unless you look through the manual. And three, if you plan on doing anything other than recording yourself and sending it on, your workflow is going to be severely limited. More on that in a minute. Okay, on to paid DAWs. I use Ableton Live on a day-to-day basis, so that is what I'll be using as a comparison. But I am familiar with other paid DAWs such as Pro Tools, Reaper, Logic, GarageBand, etc. The advantages of using a paid DAW are as follows. Overall audio processing is vastly better than that of something like Audacity. Not going to get into the nitty-gritty about it here, but know that when you need to apply effects to your recordings, Audacity cowers in fear and can ruin your audio. The UI of paid DAWs is also, usually, a lot more understandable. This is not a huge selling point, of course, but if you're using it every single day, you're going to want something that is easy to use and intuitive. I will also say, based on personal experience, that if you plan on doing a lot of audio editing, Audacity is going to make your life a living hell. Seriously, I've done it in the past, and it is very aggravating compared to what you can do inside something like Ableton. Again, workflow is something you need to keep in mind in this business. Alright, time for the negatives. The first and probably most obvious downside is the price point. Most paid DAWs these days charge yearly, or sometimes monthly, and it is usually a fairly steep price. This is usually where people tune out, but stay with me for a second because I have some information that may surprise you. Secondly, paid DAWs have a steeper learning curve to them, so be prepared to watch some YouTube videos if you happen to get stuck on something. This is not a huge drawback in my eyes, but I know it can bother some people. Now then, here is that little tidbit of info I wanted you to know. Reaper only costs $60 US, and it is a one-time payment. Not only that, but you get a very long trial time to test it out and get accustomed to it before making your purchase. If you are still using Audacity and plan on diving further into voice acting or audio editing, please check it out. I'm serious. I don't use it myself, but it definitely has my stamp of approval. In conclusion, Jesus, this was a long one. Lots of bigger voice actors out there use what they know and are most comfortable with, so please take everything I've just said with a grain of salt. If you like Audacity and it is getting you paid work, keep using it. Who am I to tell you to change? If you want to use something else that will hopefully improve your workflow, then look into getting a paid DAW. Make informed decisions, and overall, have fun. All right, shutting up now. On to the show with your hosts, Zamoody, Buka, and future me. Take it away, folks.
Hello, welcome to Cold Read the podcast for voice actors by voice actors. Welcome actually to Corpse Bleed, I should say, the yearly event where...
I should have added spooky music. Damn it. Missed opportunity.
Next year. Next year. Thank you, Jeff. For those of you that are listening, if you'd like to take an opportunity to go over to the YouTube, and yes, the YouTube, apparently I'm also 7 years old, and we are all dressed up today. We all got to decided to try out our costumes, and boy, it is a sight. I am awed by the crown under Reno's head. And the makeup on Buka is absolutely awesome. But we'll get to that in just a moment. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you want us to talk about, sorry, I got distracted. Please send us an email, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to join our Discord, ever-growing community, come on in. The link to join will be in the description. So, it's been a little bit since we've all got together. I do want to although mention that if you have any audio and you want us to listen to it, if you're working on a voice, anything, a demo reel, audition, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to give you some constructive feedback. And we've all done it to ourselves and we've all grown because of it. But without further ado, let's check in on everybody. So, Buka, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We had a little family vacation last week. I took my my mom and two of my sisters to Disneyland, and it was fantastic.
Awesome.
It's my twin sister's first time in Disneyland, so she had an absolute blast. So yeah, that was pretty darn cool. And now this week we're in con crunch time because Sin City Anime starts on Friday. But so far so good. I have all the faith that we're going to do awesome. Tonight we're doing sound check. So the onus is on me to make sure everybody sounds awesome.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
So after this, you're heading over there or?
No, tomorrow evening, we
sorry.
have our usual Monday workshops. They're normally 4 hours, but we cut it down to 2. So that during the latter half of the 4-hour block, we are doing practice for our Anime Live After Dark event.
Yikes. Looking forward to hearing how that goes. So
It's gonna be great. I have finally solidified my my voice for the antagonist that I'll be playing.
Yay.
It's gonna be so fun, and I'm giving myself kudos for figuring out how to shout in a way that is sustainable, that doesn't rip apart my vocal cords.
Nice.
Nice.
That's very important.
I can't believe you didn't pay me to teach you that.
I know I missed opportunity there, but I'm sure I'm going to need your help farther down the line.
And of course, you're dressed up as mentioned as Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Very nice.
I got nails to match too.
Nice. Hostess with a
wow.
mostess. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Putting us to shame.
All right. Well, thank you, Buka, for being here. Dorino, how are you fairly doing today?
Well, I regrew my hair, so
And it came out a nice green.
you know, yeah, I don't know why that happened. I think I am eating a lot of asparagus lately, so that might be it. But
All in with fertilizer.
yeah, maybe. Oh, let's see. What have I been up to? I've been up to a lot of trying to work more and get more money and prove myself every day, which is fun. I actually got a new demo reel commission that I just did a directed session with the guy yesterday, which was interesting because they're in Hawaii and I'm on the East Coast in the United States.
Oh,
So
interesting.
we have a 6-hour
Ooh.
time difference.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah, so he's like, "Well, I'm a bit of a degenerate, so I stay up super late anyway. So how about we do like 2 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. yours?" And I was like, "Okay, I can
If
do
you
that."
don't mind, I mean, I don't know.
No,
Wow.
I mean it works. I'm usually up that early for work, but in any case, it was really good. He was very receptive, very patient. I even told him right off the bat because I know I can be a little bit blunt and brash when it comes to giving people feedback, and so I made it apparent right off the bat. He didn't seem to mind at all. So it overall went very well. And then afterwards, I was just kind of like, I like to give the opportunity to do a bit of a wind down where you just chat basically and get to know each other a little bit. So in that 10-minute window, he hit like top 10 in my friends list because
Whoa.
he's a pretty cool guy.
Okay.
And he has played an MMO that I've never met anyone else who has played said MMO. And so that made me sad yet excited.
Okay.
So yeah, so I did that. Last week we were going to do an episode, but I know I was out. I did a
I was
10-mile
under
bike
the weather.
ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sounded
Oh yeah.
terrible. I'm glad to hear that you're sounding or feeling a lot better.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I did a 10-mile bike ride with my in-laws, which super fun. I love doing those like long bike rides, and I also love racing ahead of everyone because I'm that guy. But
You set the pace, but you set it way too high.
Kinda. I mean, they can do whatever they want. I really like. I like the wind in my lack of hair. I like seeing all the colors of the
Aerodynamics.
trees and yes, yeah. I wish I could say that's part of the reason I shave my head, but no. So yeah, it was super fun. We were worried that my in-laws were not going to enjoy themselves, but they absolutely did. So yeah, just been busy building portfolio, trying to find more work, and yeah, and today I am, if you don't know, I am Cosmo from the Fairly Odd Parents. And yes, my crown is secured in the air with chicken wire.
It looks
Don't
good.
ask how I did it. I just did it this morning, and somehow it turned out okay.
Big brain moves.
I guess. I don't know. In any case, Moody, tell us how you have been.
So I mean, for the most part, work is just super busy when it comes to just the regular 9 to 5, or in my opinion, 6:45 to 3:45. I did get a chance to do some auditioning, so I actually did make it down because I was working on another project with somebody else.
Awesome.
I'm a little, I dipped my toe back into it with the intention of continuing, but we're doing the live review/play thing that we've got going on. So that does take up like 3 days out of my week. And once that's all set and done, I should be okay. I mean, I got my notification from voices.com saying like, hey, you've got 30 days left on your account. And I'm like, I may just let this one lapse and we'll go from there. Otherwise, as you mentioned your causes, I'm set up as Uncle Fester because on Tuesday, all of the leadership for my office is going to do the Addams Family.
Nice.
Nice.
My boss is like 6'5", so we're making him do Lurch. And we've got so we'll hopefully pictures will come out of this and you know, we'll look forward to Tuesday. And outside of that, and like I mentioned before, it's like we do get a lot of kids that come by and do the trick-or-treating thing. Some of my neighbors do go all out. I'm known since I've done the Shrek and I've done the Gandalf as the guy who really does the dress-up stuff. So I'm hoping that with the light bulb and everything else works out, we'll have some fun. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I've got us a couple projects. I got my shirt in from the Energies. I'm going to wear it next week. Energies is one of the original projects. Is expected to come out in November. From Honeyham. Awesome. Yeah, that's the superhero one, fully animated. Can't wait to see what it looks like. But yeah, we got some stuff in the works, and we'll see what happens. So with me out of the way, our guest today is Jef Leeson. Jef, welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get into everything, how has your week been?
The week?
Yes.
What day of the week is this?
Now it's Sunday for me.
Yeah. Well, as we were talking earlier, I do have a Halloween spirit somewhere in here. But yeah, I live very rurally. I guess the closest town is about 5 miles away. So
wow.
I kind of miss doling out the candies and or doing the dress up and stuff. So yeah, there hasn't been much of that actually for quite a few years. But yeah, the last couple of weeks, finally some projects that have come together are in either pre-production or in the middle of production now. And I don't want to make the whole show about me.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. First off,
what?
That's the
I like the
point.
green
This is
hair and the
huge.
crown on that. I'm stuck on that. But yeah, a couple of weeks ago, the Audioverse Awards allowed me to become a juror, which is kind of funky.
Okay.
Because I'm such an audio freak. And so I've been doing a bit of jurying on that, revisiting 2 games for voices. Voices from me, that is, not, oh, do these games have voices? And yeah, pre-production on 2 short animated series, a rather large game with over 200 voice characters. I'll be the senior audio lead on.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
And trying to keep my wife from divorcing me. No, I'm kidding there. No, we're spending a lot of great time together, and yeah, it's been kind of picking up busy lately. Yeah,
Good. Sounds like a good time.
let alone reaching out to people I know and saying, hey, you know, there might be a role here you'd be interested in, but you know, I'm not going to drop any names, guys.
Well, very cool. Very cool. Thanks for being here again. Before we get started on everything else, just because this is a catch up, so if you can give us kind of like the 5-minute spiel of how you got started in doing voice production, voice acting in general, love to hear it.
5-minute spiel.
Yeah.
It kind of started by just falling into my lap. I got recording and writing comedy and songs about halfway through high school. Fell in love with everything to do with it, whether it's the science of sound and acoustics, writing songs, understanding music, really diving into writing and comedy. And so eventually I got into playing music full time for a couple of decades.
Oh, wow.
And in the process of that, I built up a studio and started recording bands and local ads for local businesses and what have you. And for some reason, people kept coming to me and saying, "Hey, you might have a voice that's okay for this. Would you voice this for us, or would you
Nice.
voice that for us?" So, I guess the short answer is organically.
Just kind of fell
Um,
into your lap, you're saying, or?
yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I did get into theater quite early. I'm not going to say what shows they were. No. Um, okay. I'm sure everybody's heard of the musical Oliver.
Yeah. Okay.
I was 11 years old and got got hired to be one of the workhouse boys, and had a brilliant moment of a couple of singing solo lines, and I just got hooked.
Yeah.
Ah,
Theater bug is rough. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, expression, yeah, stage expression, whether it's singing or acting and what have you. So that's always been with me, and the last 6 or 7 years, I've been making an effort to reach out remotely. Well, which is very easy to do when you live on a dead end dirt road. Um, so yeah, finding projects and remote clients, and whether it's audio production, editing, recording, producing, maybe even writing, performing of one type or another, voice acting, singing, songwriting, being in at least a half-time goof. That's been something I've been trying to spread around for about 6 or 7 years now, on a much bigger scale than this dirt road.
Nice.
Did
Wow.
that go longer than 5 minutes?
No, actually, I think you were way
was like-
short, but you're fine.
Smooth.
Yeah, I was up to.
Up to.
Yeah, up to. So very cool. Let's see. So I just watched the one of the videos that you were involved with. It was about the two angels, and I'm trying to remember the name all of a sudden.
oh yeah.
Alistair and Melody.
Alistair and Melody. That is such a cute little, just a short, because it's like 2 minutes, and it's, I mean, essentially with everything else. But gosh, how did you get involved with that one?
I try to spend about 10 to 12 hours a week doing cold calls.
Wow.
And that series is, we're making the pilot right now. Luximus 17. That's the name I'm allowed to drop.
Okay.
That writer and animator is just doing an amazing job, as you said, Smoody. I'm just so blown away by the quality and the charm and the characters. I don't care if I'm not voicing anything in it. It's just a absolute pleasure to be working with great people. They've added, I think, 3 or 4 more animators just in the last week or two. And essentially the premise is father and daughter are angels, and they're just trying to get along in their day here on Earth.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned, because even there's no voice acting in it, but yet the animation has so much like personality and everything in it. It was just a beautiful watch.
Yeah, that's the the toast. Oh my,
Yeah,
oh,
fish sticks and
Luximus
toast.
is really good.
Mhm.
Fish sticks and toast. Yeah, that was a sort of a test, a test video, as it were. And yeah, the whole animation style of the pilot will be following that. And yeah, the characters are so alive and so charming. The voices they have for the father and the daughter and the supporting characters. Oh man, I can't wait for people to hear everything about this.
Yeah.
If I mix it right.
Okay, so you've got the overall audio engineer job in this particular one, or?
Pretty well, yeah. Yeah, I'll be doing the final mix, a lot of the sound effects and Foley, certainly a lot of dialogue editing. There's about 7 or 8 actors, so there's a lot of cleanup and treatment and what have you involved, and a lot of that boring stuff, which I love.
Well, it's funny because I'm not going to say it's boring, because because like Dorino mentioned in the intro, you're using Reaper. This is just the regular program that you use to put this all together.
Very much so. Yeah, I've been using it for about 7 years. Yeah.
Wow. So it's generally just experience that lets you put all these masterpieces together in that particular program?
Yeah. It is a very, very powerful, very secure, free, full package. Frankly speaking, if you pay the fee that they ask for, it does not change the product. The freebie version is the exact same product as when you pay for a license.
Wow.
Oh, so this is like a WinRAR situation where
Yeah, kind
like
of.
the trial is forever.
Trial is the finished version. There's
Oh, okay.
anybody who downloads the latest version and sets it up as a trial, they get the full version. And
Yeah.
it's so powerful. In my experience, it blows Pro Tools out of the water. Certainly, Logic and Cubase. It's beyond all those for how solid it is and stable. The features, everything is so smooth and real time. You can edit to video, which is how I do all the audio for animated features and TV shows and videos for promotion or what have you. It's just so seamless and powerful, and it really sounds like I'm kissing somebody's behind now.
Not sponsored by Reaper, but we're available.
Not
Reaper.
sponsored. No, this is just from my warm Canadian country boy heart.
Sure. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. If it wasn't for programs like Reaper, I've mixed 2-hour animated movies to it, 2-hour dramas to it, or with it, I should say. Yeah, and a wide variety of other projects, whether they're just 2 or 3 minute animated shorts, voice actor demos, goofy things that I put up on my own just because I've got some time on my hands. And
Wow.
yeah, highly recommend it. It's so great. But I love the point that Dorino made earlier. If you understand, not to get off the topic of what
please.
we're hoping to talk about today,
yeah.
but if you understand what you want to get out of any tool that you buy, or a car, a light, a light bulb, if you understand what you want, don't bother going and purchasing something that's 10 or 100 times more expensive. Understand what you want, do your research, get into what it can give back to you, and accept that. You don't have to buy a Mercedes Benz if you just want to drive out to your mailbox to get the mail.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, how dare you give tips on this show? I mean, no.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's
Sorry.
well, and then you mentioned, okay, so we do have a topic in mind. So
Yeah.
I'll let Dorino preface the way that we want to come into this particular one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So something we don't really talk a whole lot about necessarily is, I guess, the psychology of the day-to-day artist. And Jeff presented an interesting topic about the actor's ego and how, well, detrimental or advantageous it could possibly be, and what to do in order to handle it. Like I know for myself, I don't. This is gonna sound really stupid, so get ready. I don't think I have that big of an ego. But I certainly recognize that I'm a little vain in that, like, I like to hear the completed product that I'm in. Song, movie, video game, what have you. I just like seeing what the final result is, and you can say it's for whatever vanity purposes, but mostly I like to just do that because I like to one, reminisce, two, learn from past experiences. What are these people doing that I'm not doing? Stuff like that. But I want to hand it over to Jeff because I hope and imagine he has a number of things to say about this. So take it away, Jeff.
Oh man,
Passing that potato
I've always
along.
been fascinated. Yeah, exactly. Well, I've always been very curious about how the ego, how narcissism shows itself. I will entirely refrain from ever mentioning proper pronouns, so I don't want to come across as like I'm picking on any individual.
Okay.
But whether it's a temporary point of narcissism that somebody posts on social media, look what I'm doing, hey, or comments on other posts, I'm going to make this about me. or something much more realistically destructive, like reaching out and harming somebody. That whole range of not quite humble bragging of, "Ooh, I got cast for this," or "I mixed and edited this," let alone reaching out and trying to harm somebody, the other extreme. How many different ways ego and narcissism and what have you can show itself within that range?
Okay.
I'm on the verge of being fascinated by it 24/7, only because I have this thing at the back of my mind that has a bit of a black humor twist on, ooh, how close are they going to be to really sinking themselves, to really burying themselves, in the sense of how many different ways can it show itself?
Okay.
Right.
And so that being a sort of a group concept, a human concept, across all of humanity, seeing how egotism works or doesn't. And as Dorina was saying, getting into something and having enough vanity to understand how it works. So I love to understand as much as I can about the human psyche and ego. So when I watch others, I try to turn around and look at myself from that same angle, not necessarily outright applying the same kind of eagerness to laugh at myself, although I love laughing at myself.
Who doesn't?
Not very many narcissistic people do.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not character failures. They're character quirks if you discover them in you, and not just being human, but certainly in anything to do with creativity requires that output of yourself, that output of some creativity and thought and drive to express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding your own ego and how your ego affects all of those things when you're creative, in this case, yeah, let's generally speaking, keep it about voice acting. How does ego affect what you do? How does ego affect how you work, how you observe other people and learn? What kind of ego did you have when you started what you did?
Okay.
What kind of ego do you have now? What kind of ego would you like to have 10 or 20 years from now with a certain amount of expectation of continued experience and wisdom building? That how ego applies across all of a person's creative output, let alone personal development. I love those topics.
No, sure.
Okay. So, and it's funny because when you say ego, I kind of see it as like a pride thing. I think we've all had those individuals that we kind of deal with, even on a day-to-day basis, when it comes to if they're cast in something, they seem like this is too, below me. This is my time is too precious type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that
Yep.
I've always seen somebody that has a big ego. I'm not sure if anybody has any other examples.
Actually, I would be, based on what you just said, I would be curious because I oftentimes, just because I'm really, I value my time a lot, and I don't accept a lot of free work these days at all. Like it's I always have to negotiate a price point. And yeah, part of that, I mean, it does kind of make me feel a bit egotistical. But at the same time, I I have worked with people who do not know what they're doing at all. And they think that they do, but they certainly don't. I don't I don't like think super highly of myself when it comes to my creative passions. But then I have the opportunities to compare to other people, and I'm like, wow, I guess I'm more experienced or more knowledgeable than I previously thought, because I have that comparison point. So I guess I would like to know, well, just everyone's opinion on this. Do you think that uh, basically only accepting paid work would that be a sign of narcissism or egotism?
Hardly, from my opinion. I think there's a big difference between, having pride, having, a positive, opinion of yourself, and then veering into what is considered the negative of having, an oversized ego, being very vain, and then creeping into the destructive area of being an actual narcissist. I think from your perspective, you take pride in your work. You are confident in your skill level, and it'd be everything would kind of come out in the wash if you didn't get jobs.
That's true. Yes, and yeah, like as you said, the people that are doing the right thing are getting the work. At least that's my opinion. Like if you're not doing something correctly, or if you're a pain in the ass to work with, people aren't going to want to hire you. Simply put, and that's not to say that I'm like getting offers left and right by any means, but my track record is starting to build and starting to prove itself.
Mhm.
Like just in the past 6 months, I've secured 2 video game roles. Like, and I started this 3 years ago, and I never in a million years thought that I would receive such an offer within the first like 10 years of me doing this. Um, so okay, that no, I agree with you. I think that yeah, there's that point of I lost my train of thought. Also, also, I will say I am not confident in myself. I try to be. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still working on the confidence thing. I just want to make cool stuff. Simply put.
And fake it till you make it works well. I mean, in all honesty, you have, okay. So here's the difference. So in what I'm thinking, because it's just, I've been in a number of projects where stuff falls apart because you have that individual that just takes things to the extreme. It moves in a mean direction. And that's generally an unwarranted point of view, because I don't see that experience. I don't see, like, for example, if you were to come in and talk to, if I'm part of a project and you come in and you're like, you know what, this isn't working out for me. That's a way of walking away from it without an ego. This, you're given
Yeah.
a good reason why, and I've seen you do that before. You're not saying like, oh fuck this is terrible, and that's a tantrum. That's yeah. So I think like Buka said, this is well earned. You're welcome to know your value and to hold yourself to it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I like that.
certainly.
I like that differentiation. Confidence and self-awareness can take you very far, particularly decades down the road. When you've got unrealistic confidence, that's narcissism. That's an overblown ego. When it's unrealistic, it shows itself, like you guys just discussed. You discover in the middle of a project, oh my God, this is a real control freak. Or maybe they just don't know that they're talking to you that way or treating you that way, and then you got to pull out of it because it's way too much of a headache.
Yeah,
You need
I've
confidence
certainly
to
been there.
step forward in anything that you want to do with a career or a hobby even. But if you've
That's
got
true.
too much of it and it's based on something unrealistic that is external from you, wow, yeah, that's narcissism.
If you ever want a industry standard for that, may I suggest Vic Mignogna?
Okay.
Ooh, that
Wow.
name sounds familiar, but I cannot place the face.
Edward
Most people
Elric,
know
I
him.
believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most people know him from voicing Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist. He is a nightmare. I've gotten some firsthand feedback from someone who used to run conventions in Arizona, and having to work with him and deciding after working with him once that he would never do it again.
Whoa.
Wow.
Dang.
He makes some insane demands. Some of the highlights include demanding that he's able to run a church service at any convention that he that he shows up at. I wish I was lying.
What?
It's oh man, you go down the rabbit hole, you will be amazed.
I'll never be able to
I,
watch that show the same way again. Thank you.
that is wow. I see. So part of me wishes that I kind of had that level of
Clout? No,
but
it's
I
not a
guess
clout.
for lack of a better term, power, because I would use it for good, like you know, like I want a full flown like pizza party sleepover at any convention that I attend. We don't need no sermon or anything like that. I just want people to have a good time.
And as long as you're wearing that kind of outfit, you've got support.
Nice, hell yeah.
Oh my goodness. How else? I mean, I've and it's funny because working in community theater, I've run into ego a lot, surprisingly. It's just individuals that always have something to say. Something's wrong in the performance. Something, and it's like it's never put it aside and just get through it. They always have to say something. I had one person who was like, "Well, I've never been in a company where a show has never started on time." If you know live theater, it never starts on time. You're always waiting for people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just
there's something about those kind of comments that most of the time it's just an indication somebody wants to make the situation about them. They want to draw the attention to them because they feel like they're missing something, which is another reason why they're complaining and blaming it on other people. Something's wrong with the world, and it's not me; it's yous. And they need something to fill some kind of gap. Then they don't know what they're saying.
And these are also the people that you can't give any feedback to at all.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Because they will walk away in a heartbeat. If they feel threatened in any way, they will just say, screw this. They don't know what they're doing. It's gone. It's destructive, unfortunately.
Even like small
it's very hard to collaborate with that. Yeah.
Because like I remember back doing theater, like during and slightly after high school. Like for the most part, I'd say everyone that I worked with was, very down to earth, very humble about their performances and whatnot. But I distinctly remember, and I cannot remember said person's name, but I distinctly remember there was someone that thought like that they should just be on Broadway right now. And don't get me wrong, they're a fantastic actress. Like I will give them credit where credit is due, but like just have fun. Like it's a small town of 1,500 people. You're not,
Yeah, big fish, little pond. And unfortunately, that also falls in projects, especially if you're doing like stuff from CCC. Big fish, and you're trying to, you're going into this thing with like, it's like unrealistic expectations, maybe. It's I know it's a fine line, I guess, where you have to go through. Because I mean, I walked away from stuff, and I don't think that was because of ego. It's just because I know limitations, or at least that's how I feel about it, and I feel like I bowed out in a respectful way, but that's not what happens here most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I often feel like if a project is causing me a certain level of stress where I just cannot stop thinking about it, I cannot do that project. And I know I've talked about it before too, but one of the audio book things that I was working on, same thing, and it was literally right off the bat. Like I was constantly worried about it just because of how I was being treated and how the project was being run, and I wanted to step away immediately. I was like, this is not worth, what I'm being paid at all. It wasn't worth my time in general, because I don't like going to work and then coming home and then just thinking about work the whole time. Like when I'm at home, I want to be at home and just enjoy my time, So I'm sure a lot of us share that same opinion. Also, I want to say real quick, Vic Mignonia, right?
It's Vic. It's Mignogna, but that's the guy.
Mignogna. Okay, so he voices a character in an anime that is in my Gmail profile, so I have to remove that immediately.
Okay, so we've been talking about ego from a actor / lower end. I'd say part of the cast. What happens when it's at the top? Because we've been there. I'm pretty sure we've all at one point. And I hear Jef.
This is where I wish I was dressed up in something. And what happens when it's at the top? Yeah. Wow.
Because, I mean, that's exactly the situation you were in, Dorino. You've got this person pretty much cracking the whip when it comes to getting all this stuff done. It just makes everybody else feel like crap.
Right. I mean, personally, like I know in a real world job, for lack of a better term, and I'm doing massive air quotes here, in a real world job, you need to maintain that, semblance of professionalism. So speaking your mind is, I guess, generally frowned upon. However, when it comes to art, that's kind of the whole point, is to express your thoughts and opinions and feelings. And so in that situation, I made it known right away. I am not happy with how things are being run. I don't like how I'm being treated. If things do not change, I will not be returning to this project. Unfortunately, I also have I also, like I said, I don't exactly have a ton of confidence in myself, so I relinquished almost immediately. They were like, oh, I'm sorry, please come back. We'll change. And then it didn't. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. So
Again.
I gotta I should really listen to our former president George H.W. Bush, in that fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you're not gonna get fooled again. Quote.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to voice acting, or I guess just acting in general, I know, people's egos are on display and nobody wants to hear things that they aren't already thinking. But I also like to believe in people, and I think that even if you say it in a negative way, I think it's important to put it out into the ether and let them know, all right, you're a good actor, you're very practiced, you're very experienced, good for you. Please help the people that want to be like you. Don't just keep punching people down.
And I mean, is that the distinction? Is it a person who's selfish and doesn't share that knowledge? That's also part of the ego trip, part of the process?
I think that exacerbates it, that they don't have the ability to understand the power of their words and their actions. Whether they're blind to it or whether they choose to be a power-hungry, idiot. If they don't know how to communicate and be collaborative and put that as the priority, anytime they do any collaboration, they're probably always going to come across as a big-headed, a-hole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can swear on this podcast. You're fine.
Well, that's I like that point about anything creative. As soon as you step out of doing anything that's not a solo project, you're automatically collaborating with somebody. So
Yes.
clear communications, understanding as much as possible who's doing what, who should be saying what, what the project's going to be. Do we agree enough all the time? Then yeah, we can probably finish this whole thing and get along. But when you reach out to total strangers, or total strangers reach out to you, by definition, it's a gamble at the start, and you only can find out in one way. What's it going to be like? What are these people like? And that is, you plug your nose, you put your ego to the back, and you jump in.
Yeah. Unless, of course, they have like a known history that is cataloged on the internet.
Oh, vetting and research. Oh, there's another hour's worth of discussion.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Oh yeah. I won't try to pick on CCC or other type of very public platforms for people to try to get their creativity off the ground, because I do believe in that. Supporting creative people in any endeavor, any art form, I love. It's such a special part of our human condition, as it were. But yeah, the naivety out there, the inexperience, a good chunk of that at a grassroots level is probably what causes a lot of the headaches. It's naivety, it's inexperience. They don't know they don't quite understand what they're saying, or they don't understand a bigger picture. If I won't drop a name, but I'll give one example of a very surprising situation of an asset designer for a game I was involved in. Pretty big game. The guy was designing a lamp.
Okay.
And he heard that one of the leads decided to rescale the lamp. Shrink it down to 95%, shrink it down only 5%. The guy wanted to quit the game.
Wow.
Here goes the
designer. Yeah, that's my lamp, and blah, 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 blah. Well, and he was one of those guys, okay, well, maybe I'll come back on. And then he tried to design something else, only to find out that his ego got bruised again and again and again. Something about him could not release his own self-value and the value of his own creativity, and release that and put up with the fact that somebody else had the final say over how big that lamp was.
Oh, sure. That's just, that's super bizarre to me. That would be the equivalent of saying, can I have a little bit more salt on my steak, please? And the chef just slams it on the ground.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre to me.
It's just like
telling
echoes,
telling
and he
of
goes
a-
into the kitchen, and the guy's like, "Who said that?"
Yeah.
Telling a voice actor, you got to speak a whole lot slower. No, I won't. I only speak this fast, and that's it. You're gonna have to put up with it. Like me or don't. What?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's part of the job. You're getting hired to speak the way somebody asked you to. That brought you into the. It's stunning how that lack of seeing the bigger picture, probably caused by naivety or just general lack of experience. It's really surprising how many different ways, I guess, as I was saying earlier, how many different ways that accidental ego steps in, and boom, you're out of the job, or nobody wants to work with you anymore, no matter how talented you are. And it just kind of juts out in so many different fashions.
And it could also come from somewhere of insecurity. It just thinks like, you just attacked me because of the way that I speak. I must attack back, but without understanding that you have the best interest of the project and their performance in mind. And that's what people need to self-reflect on sometimes when it comes, because there are just those out there that's just like, they feel like they're untouchable. I know voice actors that are like, I don't need classes, I'm a great voice actor as it is, type of situation. Is like, no, buddy, there's a reason you haven't booked anything in a while. No,
That's
Dorino,
me.
it wasn't you.
Anybody
we're
that
not
comes
naming
close to
names, but
saying,
we'll get there.
no, yeah, they're not naming names. So anybody that comes close to suggesting, let alone saying, I know everything, I know enough, they're definitely not living in reality. There's always something to learn. Always.
right.
Well, like this particular one was like, well, I went to a voice class and they said like, I've got nothing to teach you. And then it's like, okay, then you find the next, you know who I'm talking about now, don't you?
I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah, my one and name.
Yep. Okay. Go on.
So, but so it's like, okay, then you realize that you've learned as much as you can out of this outlet, but you have a whole new tier behind it. And even experience itself is going to teach you stuff. You don't know everything ever.
Yes, right. I live by that creed. Like, as a person in an ever evolving world, you are never done learning, ever. Like, there's always something new that you can be taught. And not naming any names, but I did invite said person onto this podcast, and they refused, saying that they were too nervous.
Yes.
Too good, too nervous. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, my.
even in my neck of the woods, running the amateur,
Oh,
emphasis on amateur voice acting competitions, we'll get folks that come up and, oh, like, I'm a professional, and do I really need to audition? And I'm just like, yes, you do. One of
Especially after that comment.
one of the highlights from previous years is we had, when I was still doing casting as opposed to the ADR work, I have people audition certain ways. So, for example, if I'm casting for superheroes and I've got a couple of people that have shown certain promise, they're really excited to do, they want to be sort of the hero type. Am I right? I'm going to pick 3 people, and I want you to, I called it the Kamehameha test, which is basically, I need you to do, the superhero power move. I need you to be nuanced. I need you to start low and, full of emotion, and then I want you to burst out into that final peak without screaming. And I had, 3 folks do that whole thing, and I chose 2 out of the 3 to move forward with roles that we had. I think at the time it was actually one of them was for All Might from My Hero Academia, and I forgot what the other one was. But the third guy ended up going to Twitter and saying something to the effect of, what is it? A screaming match shouldn't be how you get casted in a role. And I'm like,
oh my god,
the joke's on you, sir. You don't know how to crescendo.
Lamb.
But you hit a lot of pride points when you're at an anime convention, and people just kind of come in with a certain expectation of how they think something's going to happen, and I just kind of like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I need to find a more tactful way to say, bro, we are not Bang Zoom, okay?
Right.
It's
But,
difficult to get past that wall, don't you think? That they, again, either intentionally or unintentionally, they're clearly making it about themselves. I'm not going to do it that way, and I don't think it should be done that way. I don't care what you tell me and what direction you give me and how the project's going to go. I'm going to do it my way because that's all I'm selling. I'm selling how I want to do it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Do I sound bitter? I hope I don't sound bitter. Oh, gee.
So we are getting down to the last few minutes here,
Yeah.
and I did want to allow you to, well, I shouldn't say allow because that sounds terrible, but I wanted to hear from you about a time in which maybe your own ego got in the way, Jeff, and how you chose to deal with it. If that has ever happened. I know you're a genuine and humble guy. So
Yes.
I was waiting for him to be like, "You think I have an ego? Disconnect."
It happens in the subtlest of ways. Whether it's you discover that after reaching out to, say, a fairly popular voice actor / coach on social media, I reached out to someone about a unique and short project. I offered maybe I'll call it a little bit under SAG funds for it,
Okay.
because it wasn't going to be a fundraising or a monetary project. In fact, it had to do with helping new voice actors. And actually, I reached out to 2, and both of them rejected me in a very cold-hearted way after initially agreeing to voice for me.
No.
And I only discovered later that, oh, okay, is it the way I approached them? Because other people that trusted me, to not name names, which I won't, well, they decided not to because, you're not famous enough, or you came across too aggressive. Oh, well, I don't know how to sound famous. My work isn't making me famous. So there's that very subtle way to have ego bruised or to make mistakes that I didn't know about. Okay, I came across to this person way too confidently. A 10-minute video is all I asked if this person wanted to be involved in. And yeah, and I've also been fired and left on the road about 1,500 miles away from home.
Yikes.
Had to find my way back home. put all my gear and luggage and stuff on the train to get back home because of something I said that an employer heard through a wall.
Oof.
Ooh.
So in other words, I probably deserved it entirely. And so that whole range, if you're self-aware enough and you're confident enough, you're going to keep putting yourself out there regardless, put up with the bumps and bruises, and just continue on with the confidence of understanding why you wanted to do it in the first place, and continue trying to learn. And a lot of what we've been discussing today, get over my own ego, work through the bumps and bruises of other people's egos, and then just keep going because I love doing the do.
Wow.
Hmm.
Very cool.
That almost
Very
sound practiced.
Well, and
Yeah.
hopefully this episode will give people an opportunity to maybe reflect and realize if that is there. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
most egotistical people do have narcissism tendencies, and all
Yeah.
of that may have just blown right over their heads.
Mm.
Or again,
Aerodynamically,
hopefully,
you know.
maybe
Yeah.
aerodynamically, or maybe help them understand a bit of a way to open up their own window to see themselves and how their ego works and how that affects others, how it works on themselves and how it works on others. Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that only applies really if you're willing to accept feedback in any way. Because believe me, I've worked with, well, I've worked and known a number of people who you can scream at them until the cows come home. You know, like you are out of control, and they refuse to listen. They refuse to change because that's just how they're made, built, whatever.
I love
Yeah,
how much
yeah.
your crown is shaking up there. Let me just say that it's so distracting to see. Just kind of like. Sorry.
It moves with his emotion.
Agreed. Oh, it's been an hour already. My goodness.
Wow.
Where does time fly?
Right.
Jeff, always a pleasure to talk to you. I mean, God, please come on more often. 'Cause
Seriously.
your stories.
Well, thanks
are,
again for asking me on.
Yeah, they're not only are they an inspiration, we get to learn stuff from you. So absolutely appreciate it all.
That'll be $1.25.
No, we talked about this. It's afterwards.
I got to get a crown.
Yeah. Have Dorino give you the hint, the tips on how to make it float.
I mean, I got another one. I'll mail it to you.
Is it weaved into the hair? I mean, okay, never mind. If you get an opportunity, check it out on YouTube. What are you dressing up as Halloween? We'd love to hear it. We'd love to see it. If you have an opportunity, come on into the Discord, drop into the About You section, and hopefully there's one somewhere you can put your photos. I know we do have one of those. And we love to have you part of our community. So feel free to click the link on that description. If you have a topic, anything, you can talk to us there. We play video games, we do stuff. We've sometimes been doing Payday 3. Come on, join us. We don't bite. We're just, we're nowhere. We're regular people. We're having fun. We're telling our stories and our journeys. If you have anything you want us to talk about, if you have an idea for a topic, you can even email us, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. Or, like I said, drop your audio. We want to hear it. Email it to us. Put it in the Discord. Give us an opportunity to listen to you and hopefully put you on a better path or give you better ideas on how to improve. And that's the whole idea for the show. And hopefully you all had some fun listening to us. And I will say today, #Corpse Bleed will get you $20 off of Dorino stuff that I will pay for it out of my pocket because I haven't done that in a while and I keep forgetting. So, or even if you use any of Buka's crochet stuff, I'll be more than happy to pay that. #Corpse Bleed. First one to get it, first one to use it. That's who gets it. All right. From all of us to all of you, we appreciate you all being here. Thanks again. We'll catch you all next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy Halloween.
Happy
And remember to drink your water.
There it is. Bye.
All right.
Woo.
Okay.
Did it.
Yay. There it is. It started. Stop it. Okay, we're going to stop the stream. Thank you all. Appreciate everybody who was lurking. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye, chat. Export.